Let's turn this pinch pot into a bird that has some expression. Here's some ideas to kind of get you started. Look at the wing style, size of beak, eye shape, eyebrows. This one has texture on the wings, open beak, very round, beady eyes. This one's chillin'. Looks like he could be listening to some music with some headphones. Very long, curved beak. Textured eyebrows and eyelashes. Size of eyes really makes for an interesting bird. This guy's rocking the rooster mohawk and whistling. So as we're making our bird, be thinking, or maybe a happy accident happens too. So be thinking about how you want your bird to look. And if it doesn't look exactly the way you want it to, maybe just roll with it and something beautiful will come. Let's start with some eyes. You'll be getting a hunk of clay, and that hunk of clay will be good for a couple of things. So think about, do you want big eyes, small eyes? Are they going to be oval, round, flattened and round? Are they going to be the same size? Once you have rolled a ball, it doesn't have to be completely perfect. That's okay. The more you play with your clay, the more cracks you're going to get. It is okay to take a little bit of water and smooth it out, but you do run into the problem of having your clay get too wet and turn muddy or begin to turn into slip. Go ahead and make your two eyes. And then to attach these, we have to do something kind of special. If you were using modeling clay or Play-Doh or any other type of clay, you could just stick it on there and it would stay just fine. Earthenware clay, that's this stuff, has to be attached in a special way in order for it to not fall off and to go through the kiln firing. We are going to score or scratch the clay. I like to plan out where they're going to go before I do that. How far apart do you want them? Do you want your bird to be looking up like it's a baby bird getting fed? Do you want them more on the side? Don't have them too close to the bottom though, because you won't have room for a beak. We're going to score or scratch using a pencil and carving kind of deep. It doesn't go all the way through, but it is roughed up pretty good. Also going to do that on the eyes. Sometimes just poking some holes works great to rough it up. Okay. Then we either use slip, which is a mud-like version of clay. It's clay with a lot of water added. In this case, I'm using vinegar and paintbrush. Vinegar helps break down the clay, acting just like slip. So we can take a paintbrush and kind of mush it in there. It'll help the clay break down and dissolve a little bit. When you're attaching the eye, support from the inside so you don't squish your pinch pot. And give it a little pressure to make sure it stays. Also, wiggle it. If it falls off in your hand, you bet your buttons it's gonna fall off later in the process. If it does fall off, maybe scratch a little bit more and add some more slip or vinegar. You're welcome to poke some holes where your eyeballs go, or you can just leave it for the glazing process. I think I'm just going to barely put some holes so I can see where the bird's pupils are. See, this is why we gotta really push it on there. It may fall off if you're using vinegar. It takes a little bit of time for that clay to start breaking down for it to really stick well. Got some eyes. Doesn't look like a bird yet. Think about a beak. Do you want a short stubby beak? Do you want a long beak? Take a hunk of clay, begin rolling it into a ball. That doesn't seem like a very bird-like shape. I hold it and then just begin pinching one end. See how it's starting to taper? I flip it and begin pinching the other side, rotating it back and forth. So it's creating this triangular shape. You could probably also tap it on the table to do the same thing. Now maybe you want something that is rounder in the beak, and you just won't have those hard edges. You could probably roll it kind of like a hot dog. Take some time to sculpt your beak. Before you actually attach it, hold it up. Do you like how long it is? Do you like the placement of it? I was thinking of having a shorter beak, but I'm kind of liking this. This end is very round. It's not going to want to stick to something that's a little flatter here. If that's you, tap it against the table. Now that flat piece will fit nicely right there. Just like we did before, we're going to score or scratch where it goes. Think of Velcro, how Velcro is rough on both surfaces. I know one's softer than the other on Velcro, but they're still both roughed up. Score it or scratch it. Really work that vinegar in there. If it's slip, you can just kind of wipe it on there because it looks like mud if it's slip. We're gonna stick it on, support it from the inside. And we're going to need to blend this. Sometimes a clay tool is helpful. It'll look kind of ugly at first, but we'll go back and smooth all those pieces. You're welcome to draw a line to carve where the slit would be between the upper beak and the lower beak. If you're doing the whistling bird, you could carefully poke a hole in the tip with your pencil. Let's give this little birdie some personality. How about some eyebrows? We'll roll a little baby coil. A coil is a long snake-like piece of clay. You can roll it between your hands. You can roll it on the table. I like to use this part of my arm. It's nice and squishy there instead of our bony hands. I have better luck rolling with my forearm there, just underneath my wrist. That is way too long for an eyebrow, but we can carefully use a clay knife to cut the size that we want. Eyebrows are very expressive. How are you going to add your eyebrows? Wings. You could make a wing that's kind of an ovally shape. You could make a wing that has individual feathers happening. You could make a wing, here's another individual one with texture. Lots of different ways to make a wing. Here's another one that's nice and smooth and attached. And the wings, one way to do that is to start with a round ball of clay. Again, it does not need to be perfect because the more you work with it, the more cracks you're gonna get. Definitely not a perfect circle, but it does not need to be. Begin squishing it kind of flat. Not paper thin, flat. Also not super thick. Shoo! That piece ended up getting really big, didn't it? That's almost a little too big for my bird, so I think I'm just going to rip that piece in half. Try that again. So whatever shape you are doing for your wing, roll it into a ball. Begin flattening it. You could kind of gently squish. Don't slap at your clay, but just gently squish it. And if you want the individual feathers, carefully take your clay knife and cut a few slits into it. 3, 4 slits may work pretty well. And gently separate. And pinch if you need to. It might look good if you cut out some little sections. not really a wrong way to do this as long as you're happy with the outcome. Sometimes happy accidents are the best. That's a pretty wonkin' looking wing, but I think we might roll with it. Hold it up to your bird before you attach it. Are you digging it? Do you want it flat? Do you want it slightly coming off of the body? That can be a little tricky to glaze. What makes sense for your bird? Another way that you can make a wing, roll it into a ball. It doesn't need to be a very big ball. Begin flattening it again. And then pinch the end. Pinch just one end, creating a tapered wing. So this could work for your wing. It's a nice smooth wing. You could leave it flat against the body or coming off a little bit. You could also carve the texture in. You probably want to wait till you attach this because you may end up smoothing that out. I think this is the wing I'm going to go with.
Create both wings and make sure that you scratch and slip to attach them. If you'd like, you can also make a tail feather.